Hi, I'm Paul Page with drag racing expert Steve Evans. Motor Speedway is no more. We are at Orange County International Raceway once again for the World Finals of Drag Racing in Top Fuel. And today, it is a battle between three men, Jeb Allen, Gary Beck, and Johnny Abbott.
That's right, Paul. And Jeb Allen comes into this event with a rather comfortable points lead. But if you'll recall, 1 year ago, he failed to qualify and missed his shot at last year's title. If Jeb makes that kind of mistake again, both Gary Beck and Johnny Abbott are right there to take it away from him.
And 1 year ago at the World Finals, there was a spectator. Her name is Lucille Lee. She decided she liked it so much she wanted to become involved. And she's involved in a big way as the pilot of a Top Fuel dragster.
And that's the part that I can't believe, Paul, is that a girl would start at the very top in the unlimited class at 250 miles an hour. And she learned to drive right here at Orange County International Raceway during the week on Wednesday nights and Saturday afternoons. Made over 60 runs before she ever entered competition and qualified very well at the U.S. Nationals just a couple of months ago.
Top Fuel drag racing today on NBC Sports World. Jeb Allen in the near lane as he performs his burnout and is prepared. It is Dwight Salisbury that challenges him in round number 1 of Top Fuel drag racing.
Dwight Salisbury of Van Nuys, California, a real starting line technician. Even in an underpowered car, he is a threat. Jeb Allen, he has been a professional drag racer since the age of 18, the only job he's ever had.
There's Jeb Allen as his engine crackles with horsepower, and he looks up and to the right. The Christmas tree is the starting device. You can see it there now. Jeb Allen watching intently for an amber light, and then 0.4 of a second later, a green light. They are moving into stage position. They're off, and Jeb Allen loses the whole shot to Salisbury, but Salisbury's engine going away as they come across the line. Still, it seemed that something went wrong on Allen's machine also. So Dwight Salisbury wins it, but a problem perhaps with both cars.
A big problem for Jeb Allen, Paul. Had he beaten Salisbury, he would have clinched the World Championship. As it is now, he has opened that door for Johnny Abbott or possibly even Gary Beck. Now, here is Jeb Allen in the near lane. He seldom has mechanical problems. He's won 4 big races this year with consistency. But something goes wrong here. Something comes off the engine. Jeb is well ahead of Salisbury, is driving away from him, and all of a sudden, that is the belt off of the supercharger. And without the supercharger, there's no horsepower.
A very disgruntled Jeb Allen. You can imagine how he feels. He may have just given away the world title with a small mechanical error on his machine. He has to be terribly disappointed.
Paul, Jeb Allen is one of the most emotionally charged drivers in this sport. It's going to be very hard for him to become a spectator here this afternoon, watching Johnny Abbott or maybe even Gary Beck try to take his title away from him.
So Jeb Allen may have given the title away. It certainly gives a chance to this man, Johnny Abbott.
Johnny Abbott served notice that he could be the world champion with a win earlier this year at the U.S. Nationals up against the former national champ, Marvin Graham of Oklahoma City, one of the quickest cars in the sport.
So it is Marvin Graham on the near side as he prepares himself for a run against Johnny Abbott. This is a must-win situation for Abbott, though. He has to put away every run that he possibly can here today.
Marvin Graham here in the car lane appears to have a big lead, but if we look back at the starting line, we'll find a red light glowing in Marvin's lane. A foul start. The man from Oklahoma City leaves too soon, way too soon, as the yellow light still glows on the Christmas tree, and he wasted a 5.75 elapsed time.
So Gary Beck with a big number 2 showing on his Top Fuel dragster. Brings it up to the line, and he is ready to face Dick LaHaye. Beck in the near lane. LaHaye in the far lane. They wait for the lights. They're staged. The power comes up.
A perfect start by both drivers, but look at Gary Beck here in the tower lane, simply out-muscling Dick LaHaye, and Penny Beck just loves it. Verifying the win light in Gary Beck's lane at 5.73 seconds, one of the best performances of this event.
So Gary Beck still has a shot at a world championship here at the World Finals of Drag Racing from Orange County Raceway in California. Frank Bradley now faces one of our other stories here today as Lucille Lee makes her burnout. Lucille Lee, who 1 year ago was just a spectator at a drag race, and she had an opportunity before the start of the event to talk with Steve.
1 year ago this weekend, a young housewife, mother, secretary, came to the World Finals drag races for the first time ever, liked it so much, and now she's driving a race car. That's you. Why?
I think I was ready to do something different in my life. I don't know if it was the 30s blues or what it was. I came to the races working for TR3. We had tickets. We were sponsoring Marvin Graham's car. I got to looking inside the car, seeing the harnesses. The fact that you can go down a quarter mile in less than 6 seconds is real intriguing to me because I'm not a physically motivated type person as far as
Like a go lift weights.
Right, or play tennis or something like that. That takes a lot of physical exertion. I think this kind of a sport, I've enjoyed speed. I like exciting rides. The safety of it really got me more interested in it.
Obviously, you've got a lot of nerve, but have you experienced fear in this car?
Every time I get in it.
And so Lucille Lee will face this man, Frank Bradley. It's a situation here of a rookie against a longtime veteran because Frank Bradley certainly knows his way down the drag strip. There is Lucille Lee as she brings her machine up to the line. And they begin the stage, and Frank Bradley pulling the hole shot on Lucille Lee. Bradley down the line, but it's close coming to the finish, and Lucille Lee wins it.
Bradley came in here expecting an easy win, as the lady had never won before, but he is her first victim.
And Lucille Lee with her first win light ever, and she did it in fine style in the fives at a 5.95, 240.64 miles an hour. And look at her. She can't wait to climb out of that machine. So that's the conclusion of round number 1 of Top Fuel. In round number 2, it will be Muldowney facing Abbott. Beck will face Lee, Salisbury against Ruth, and Kimball versus Sutton. We're back at Orange County International Raceway for the World Finals of Top Fuel Drag Racing. I'm Paul Page with Steve Evans, and Larry Sutton brings his Top Fueler to the line as he is about to face John Kimball. What he's about to do is the burnout. It's extremely important.
It's important. It's also very exciting, Paul. Not only are you heating the tires, you're also putting down a track of hot, sticky rubber down on that pavement for more traction.
And for a Top Fuel dragster to be effective in the quarter mile, you have to pass it in the 5-second bracket.
John Kimball, a trucking company operator and weekend drag racer, versus Larry Sutton. Sutton, the biggest surprise of this event. He was not even expected to qualify, let alone be around for the quarterfinals.
The quarterfinal round, Top Fuel dragster in the World Finals of Drag Racing. A race within a race, not only to determine a victor here today, but we will also break a 3-way battle for the World Championship. It is Larry Sutton in the near lane, John Kimball in the far lane, as they stage their Top Fuelers.
Larry Sutton here in the Tower Lane, usually the starter here at Orange County International Raceway. They are dead even until Sutton suddenly pulls ahead by a couple of car lengths, Paul. Something apparently going wrong with Kimball's car, and the Sutton crew enjoying every minute of this, their brightest day in drag racing.
So Larry Sutton picks up a quarterfinal round win with a 6.14, 221.13 miles an hour. And that brings up last year's world champion, Shirley Muldowney, against a man who still has a chance at a world title this year, Johnny Abbott. Muldowney and Abbott as they bring it up to the line. Of course, this is extremely important for Abbott if he is going to win the world championship. Before the race, Steve talked with him about facing Shirley Muldowney, the defending world champion.
Johnny Abbott, next in your path towards possibly a world championship is the world champion, Shirley Muldowney, and she's tough.
Well, Steve, she really is tough. You know, and this goes back to 77 when I first raced at the Popular Hard Riding Championships, and I don't know how many times I've raced her since that time, but I'm just guessing that wins and losses against her are about 50-50. You know, I wouldn't take that to the bank, but I know it's close, and this is just going to be another race just like it. It ought to be a good race.
So Johnny Abbott must continue to win if he expects to stay in the fight against Jeb Allen and Gary Beck for the championship. Something wrong already on his car as Shirley Muldowney goes on to the win. There's the world championship gone away for Johnny Abbott. But Shirley Muldowney showed a lot of smoke as she made her pass in 6.8, 136.6 miles an hour. And a real question about Shirley Muldowney's engine as she pulls in comes to a stop. But Johnny Abbott has lost his chance at a world title. It is now between Jeb Allen and Gary Beck. Muldowney, the big number 1 on her helmet, out of her machine. Let's go down and pick up Steve Evans. Steve?
Shirley Muldowney thrilled with the victory. She'll take them any way she can. The first concern is the motor because they are not oversupplied right now with spare engines. And hopefully it's just piston smoke, which is almost routine these days and something very easy to replace. All right, Shirley's got her helmet off. Well, when you don't have the performance, you got the luck.
Yeah, the luck is with us today. I think we caught a couple pistons. I don't know. I know we didn't break anything.
Did you ever see Abbott?
At the start, yes. He's a good lever. I saw him, and then I saw him drop back, so I knew it had to be something that's serious, the way it was too early in the race for him to back out of it, so.
If the motor is hurt bad, do you have a spare?
We know how to fix it.
Okay, Shirley Muldowney has a very talented crew.
So we're still in the quarterfinal round now. Top Fuel drag racing from Orange County International Raceway as Dwight Salisbury brings his machine back from a burnout and prepares to face Jerry Ruth.
Jerry Ruth in the far lane. Ruth doesn't intend to paint this car, Paul, because paint weighs 30 pounds. Ruth, one of the most successful drag racers ever out of the northwest part of this country.
And he faces Dwight Salisbury, who won when Jeb Allen broke his floor on the first run.
Dwight Salisbury using the handbrake here, Paul, getting it pumped up to hold this car on the starting line.
Quarterfinal round, Top Fuel drag racing. Dwight Salisbury in the near lane, Jerry Ruth in the far lane. And Salisbury picks up a good hole shot, but it is Ruth on the charge now. Jerry Ruth down to the line, awfully close at the finish, but Dwight Salisbury with a 6.115 takes it away from Jerry Ruth.
Even though Ruth ran a little bit quicker, Dwight Salisbury, with those cat-like reaction times, picks up a victory here in the quarterfinals. Now, Ruth appeared to have this race in the bag. Everything was going wrong for Salisbury. He was smoking the tires, appeared to be beaten, but Ruth had no horsepower, possibly not even going into high gear.
So Dwight Salisbury picks up a victory, 218 miles an hour on his pass through the traps. But Dwight Salisbury, as he moves on toward the event title, but there is still the battle for the World Championship, and Gary Beck, in his dark blue number 2, still has a chance, and he will face Lucille Lee.
And no one, especially Gary Beck, is taking Lucille Lee lightly now, Paul, as she had one of the best reaction times in her first-round victory.
Lucille Lee and Gary Beck, as Gary Beck brings him off the line. He can't afford any mistakes at this point. Beck charging hard and just absolutely shuts Lucille Lee down as Gary Beck moves on to a possible world championship.
Seldom will you see a rookie driver like Lucille Lee, Paul, as consistent off the starting line as she is. She moved first.
Gary Beck with a very strong 5.72.
Okay, as Gary Beck wraps the parachute around the wing for a return back to the pit area, we'll try to get a word from him. You're still alive. The World Championship may be.
Oh, we're hanging in there. We're ahead of Abbott now. That's what we really came down here for. And catching Jeb after the lead he had all year, that's a miracle. So we're just hanging in. Next race is Shirley.
Well, here's a guy that didn't enjoy it quite as much as you do. Here's Jeb Allen.
We both champions, I mean, Gary's won it before, and I don't know if might win it again, you never know in this drag racing game.
Yeah, but top speed and low ET will be awfully tough, but we'll see. Anything's possible.
So those are the men that'll fight it out for the World Championship. In the semifinal round, it will be Gary Beck versus Shirley Muldowney, and Dwight Salisbury will face Larry Sutton. And now to Mike Adamley.